On today's Minute of the Apes, we found out Todd doesn't know how to use the mixing board after a week, and also, do I spoil the ending of Gattaca?
Take your sticky paws off me, you damn dirty ape! The divine bomb. The only good human is a dead human! Where there is fire, there is smoke. Now fight like apes! The minute of the 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 apes!
Hello and welcome to Minute of the Apes, the daily podcast where we break down every minute of the Planet of the Apes movies, 1 minute at a time. I'm Todd, and I'm pushing the buttons.
Push the button, pull the strings. Fuck you, throw me the whiskey.
Man, you were just like all kinds of references today.
I got Bloody Marys.
Richard, how are you this morning? We spent a lot of time talking. You're over there so diligent. Your hair's like pulled back in a bun. You look like vibrant.
You're researching the script.
I'm going over the script, the differences, stuff like that. I'm doing my work. I'm awake.
Are you sure?
Sure. I had an
Okay.
all-day competition yesterday, so I'm kind of tired. Got up at 4, did some zoo stuff. Now I'm here. And I have some caffeine.
All right.
Not a Bloody Mary.
You don't want to Bloody Mary with us this morning?
No.
Really?
No, I qualified for the quarterfinals. That's
okay.
in 4 weeks, and I'm
He's
trying
got-
to be more dry the
got-
next 4 weeks.
That's so boring.
I know it is. Actually, it's
Gonna be all grown up and all that.
I'm trying to work out harder. I don't know.
I'm here. I told Sean, I'm like, I need a Bloody Mary. I drank last night. I need something to get me going again.
Did
Did you perform last night?
No, I did not.
He requested a Bloody Mary yesterday. You were planning on
Yes.
this.
So I did perform on St. Patty's Day, and that kind of wrecked my voice a bit. And then I said, hey, alcohol always really is a good thing when you've wrecked your voice. So I have alcohol. Then I meet him for brunch and have more alcohol. And I was already telling him, like, I need a Bloody
Like we
Mary.
haven't
I
drank.
know.
We haven't drank while doing a podcast. While we've only done 1 week's worth of podcasts. So like, all right,
Not
we
in a
can fix
while.
that.
But I think even with the last, the end of the last movie, I don't think we were drinking that much. We just got here and it was very efficient. Crank, 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 and get it done.
There were definitely some earlier seasons when we would just
Some
show
dry
up with
seasons.
we would just show up with,
With
a six-pack.
Yeah.
Or- yeah.
Well, I think the last time that we were at Zeus, I'm pretty sure that we plowed through about every bit of beer that you had in the
leftover
back.
beers. Yeah,
Yeah.
like scrounging through whatever in the
What is
tiny
in the fridge? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing in there right now. It's an empty fridge. It's the saddest fridge
Aw.
ever.
Okay, I was going to say that's sad. Maybe we need to go back to a Tuesday night recording and record down there and fill up your fridge.
Okay, all right. I filled
All
the
right.
fridge party at the
haven't-
comic book store.
Yeah.
I haven't been into Zeus
Fill the
since
fridge.
the pandemic, so it would be
Wow.
Wow, that has been a while.
Yeah.
Well, we had a remodel, didn't we? Yeah.
I saw the pictures
Yeah.
numerous times, but I haven't been in there. I don't think. Got to think back.
Well, do you want to talk about a very, very sterile environment and everybody wearing white?
Okay.
What a wonderful transition. Sean, tell us what's going on with minute 6.
All right. We're going to start minute 6 with Davidson and Pericles exiting screen right and ends with Leo getting a postcard.
All right, here it comes. Minute 6 of Marky Mark of the Planet of the Apes.
Hey, there you are. Oh, what? Was the Homo sapien mean to you again, huh? We all know it's just rocket envy, don't we?
Ever consider an actual boyfriend?
I mean, do I enjoy being miserable? No, thanks. I think I'll stick with my chimps.
Hey. I'm teaching him.
No, you're teasing him.
Well, he's gene spliced, chromosome enhanced. State of the art monkey, he can handle it.
You know what? When you frustrate them, they lose focus. They get confused, even violent. Hey, congratulations, Pericles. You're gonna be a daddy.
Thought I saw a smirk on his face.
Actually, the female was the aggressive one.
Hey, Leo, got a postcard.
As minute 6, we have an ape and at least a couple of humans.
So, for some reason, my QuickTime was being... Oh, there now. I was about to try and do my visual recap, and I had to play it within the file folder. It wouldn't launch itself, so now I've got it to launch. So
Yay.
let me walk you through this. So we see our hero, Marky Mark, escorting his chimp along. We see chimps in cages, numerous chimps and orangutans in cages. We see...
No gorillas.
No, that's true. We see scientists we assume scientists. They're very lab coat oriented. This is a very white, sterile environment.
We assume they're research scientists, even though they're all in their 20s and maybe early 30s.
And just playing with
Yes.
monkeys.
And then they have monkeys playing with keyboards. They have a Casio keyboard, and the
Go
monkeys,
to FDE. FDE.
It's
Come
like
on.
I was like, okay, so we have them all testing out things. The camera tracks over, and we see a woman take Pericles.
Pericles, yes.
Boy, it's like one of those words that doesn't exactly roll off the tongue. She takes him into her arms. We have exchange with Marky Mark. We have witty banter, and it's back and forth until they finally walk over and look at another ape within a cage.
Was it Witty Banter? Was it?
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it was intended to be Witty Banter.
Yeah, it's supposed to be kind of like they're flirting with each other. I mean, the Homo sapien, and he's got rocket envy. The penis jokes and all this kind of stuff.
I get it, but for kind of a first interaction between two characters,
Don't you want a boyfriend? It's like,
it was a little.
Well, and
A little awkward, and then they didn't react to each other as if they're.
it's actually like each other. So this brings into why I've been probably a little critical of Mark Wahlberg. I want to be fair and say that I was telling friends last night. I'd already told the guys, by the way, that I had a little to drink with friends over dinner last night, and this friend listens to the podcast, and he said, "Oh, are y'all doing the Tim Burton?" Yeah. And start talking about. I'm not a big Wahlberg fan. I don't think he's a very good actor. For me, he doesn't work. And then he brought up. He said, "Okay, but I thought you loved Boogie Nights." I do. What about The Departed? He can, in the right roles, he can be good. I want to clarify that one more time. This is one of those moments where he doesn't have that
gravitas?
that
or-
vibrance within his soul that makes you think he actually, because it almost seems like he's sort of like, "Hey, I'm gonna fuck you up later," you know. It doesn't come off as genuine.
I honestly, her first line was, "The homeless to be mean to you again." I read that. I got that. The next line, "We all know it's just rocket envy." I honestly missed that. The first few times I listened to it, I did not realize that she was kind of making a jab at him, a penis joke right away. And it was also her delivery as well. "We all know it's just rocket envy." I mean, she didn't need to come across that hard, but I needed a little something more for the line to stand out because I didn't understand why they were playing back and forth with each other. Her line needed to be a little bolder for me. "We know it's just rocket envy," and then he had the comeback, right? And the comeback was also dry.
Don't you want a boyfriend?
You ever consider an actual boyfriend?
Yeah.
Like, we didn't have any interactions with them prior to this. It's just kind of a weird, stiff moment. And she had the cute line back. I mean, you mean, do I enjoy being miserable? I'll stick with my chimp. So I thought that was kind of cute, but there's
There's also
nothing playful about what's happening.
But then there's also more sex talk.
They just sound kind of mad at each
There's
other.
more sex talk just a little bit later about Pericles knocking up another chimp, and hey, I saw him smirking. No, that's actually the female that smiles, and all that kind of. So it's very supposed to be flirty, sexual here in the beginning, without any like emotion between them.
So I think that this gets into then why is this flat and why doesn't this work? And you have to look at Tim Burton and Tim Burton's style. You know, he has performances. Ed Wood has, Johnny Depp being what he is and Martin Landau what he is, and that even Edward Scissorhands has sexual tension with Kathy Bates talking to Johnny Depp. I wonder if Burton isn't this person who can have witty sexual banter, because this isn't in the right hands. This could be okay.
Right.
These people are not handling all right. And this woman's name is Anne Ramsey. She was in A League of Their Own.
Yep.
She was also the sister in Mad About You. So she's been around. She does decent work. I think Mark in the right hands can probably handle this. But does it fall to Burton that he didn't find the right note?
They
for
just
them?
sound mad at each other.
I can
and not
I
playful.
agree.
And I thought this was intended to be playful.
And I can see a younger Charlton Heston playing this role as being more flirtatious than Mark Wahlberg is right now.
When I think, and I don't disagree with you, because when I think of this, I think of an actor that could probably pull it off is Matt Damon, who has that almost boyish charm about him, who probably would have stopped and smiled a little bit to some of this.
Something a little bit. Again, I think her setup also didn't lead into him being playful back. So I can't put it all on him as well. We do, we start off with seeing kind of the research facility. We've got these apes in cages. We've got they intentionally wanted an ape to be playing on electronic keyboard, so that's what you kind of hear that for.
The FDE,
dialogue,
FDE.
the dialogue with the FTE more slowly dialogue was not actually in the script, but I think they needed to kind of spell out exactly what was happening
What
for
they're
the audience.
doing. Yeah, because it feels like almost like a kindergarten playroom rather than scientists teaching apes how to do structured stuff, because you've got all these kids in cages. I'm saying kids, but they're apes in cages, jumping around with 3 on a table, being taught different things instead of. They should be in individual rooms, structured. All right, here's what you're doing because you're going to be in a pod by yourself. You need to learn how to play the piano, whatever. Instead of everybody screaming at each other in one big room.
Right. There's no to that kind of point. There's no sense of why we're training apes in space.
And I think that
when we should be training them for space, if that's why they're there. Like
Yeah.
it's not.
I think
these
in
are
the coming
remedial.
minutes, I think that this even plays more where you start going, what are they doing here? Now, also, when he comes in the room, one of my least favorite things in film happens, and that is that she looks to them coming in the room for no reason. She has nothing that provokes her eye to be drawn. We don't hear...
That's right. She just turns.
Yeah, we don't have Pericles go, and, scream above the others or run to her. Okay, so Sean has a brand new dog, Gertie. First thing that happens is I feel something this morning. I know Gertie's here, but I don't know she's there, and I feel the scratching. I turn and look. I see her. If they'd had Pericles leave
Grab her
Mark's hand
leg.
and run, and then she looks. It's so convenient that she just turns and looks, and he at least jumps in her arms so he likes her. But it seems like, witty banter aside, situation aside, the main point of this scene is to let us know in his very lovely Marky Mark delivery, the chimp is gene spliced chromosome enhanced state of art. So they've got the information out there. There are so many easier ways. Instead of having chimps playing keyboards, why not have somebody talking right when we walk in? Like, have you done the chromosome enhancement?
Hell, why not have 3 pods in there that the other chimps are in, hitting buttons and everything?
You can have all kinds of way of delivering this, but it just, I don't know, it comes off a little flat.
I almost would have liked this medical officer to have shown up right as he's exiting the pod. That he gets him out of the pod, does a little treat trick with him, and then as he pulls him out, she comes in, and then they begin this exchange about that he's genetically
Maybe
enhanced,
taking some monitors off
something,
him,
and then
chest.
brings him into the room where the other apes are, so we know going
anything.
into this room that they're genetically enhanced. It also is, and it's, I think it might supposed to play into their dialogue at the beginning when she says, actually, the female was the aggressive one, right? We hear a noise. Pericles looks across the room, and she has to add, "Congratulations, Pericles, you're going to be a daddy." Right? That's in this minute, right?
Yeah.
Is it?
No,
I-
yeah, they
it's in this minute, 'cause
because
it-
Marky
okay.
Mark says, "I thought I saw him smirking."
I
She
thought I
goes,
saw a
"No, that's
smirk on his
female."
face,
Yeah.
and now actually
didn't make a note about it, but you're
actually the female was the aggressive one, and I'm like, well, this is still just that weird stiff dialogue that this I guess would make sense if the first part of the delivery made more sense at the beginning of this minute. But congratulations, Pericles, you're going to be a daddy. Okay, so we've got a gene spliced monkey, state of the art monkey, who has another chimp who is pregnant, and it's gone out of the way to mention that the female chimp was the aggressive one on him. And it makes me wonder what they're trying to set up for later on in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, that's where I'm going with this. Okay, we've got 2 apes. One's pregnant. The female's the more aggressive one. He's gene and splice enhanced. Okay, are we leading into the Planet of the Apes with these 2 apes themselves?
Yeah,
I think that it's almost no question that somehow this is important to
Or is the female the aggressive one going to play into ape
The women are
culture
always the aggressive
Well,
one.
yeah, I know. But apparently they're into their chimps and not into
right.
I also
other dudes with rocket envy.
I also wonder if it was on purpose or an accident that this is a bit kind of like Conquest looking, where remember when Caesar got taken through where all the apes got trained with the flamethrowers and all that stuff. This is kind of like Gray with all of them in cages still being trained, although not so aggressively. Was that on purpose, or is this just like a coincidence that they kind of look similar? This little
When
gray
you had
area?
mentioned them all being in rooms, that's the first place that I went, was them having the little no-doored rooms where you could actually walk down a hallway and see them all
there
training in a
together.
room area.
It's also, for a major motion picture, rather flatly lit.
I had that as well. I
like-
said, one of my first notes was, is it me or do these sets look cheap, like 1969 cheap?
Yeah, and usually what you're going to do with that kind of thing is put more accent lighting and things like that, so it kind of adds a texture to it, but it just comes off very
Flat,
stage
yeah.
lit, television lit.
It looks very much like...
It does. Yeah.
It looks like the Oberon looks from the outside, very gray and flatly lit.
And they may have wanted that very thing. And here's another thing that I find very odd. It's whitish gray backdrop, and their suits are whitish gray. It makes everything just...
Not stand out, yeah.
You usually would put something... you could still have them in a rather drab suit, and I like the costumes, but you usually would make the walls a little darker or something so the characters stand out. But everything just sort of falls in together.
So am I the only one that when they get frustrated, I also get unfocused, confused, and violent? Just like Pericles.
When you frustrate them, they lose focus, get confused,
confused.
even violent. Yeah, even
That's me.
the violent is also...
Is that you?
Yeah, that's
the
me.
violent is also a setup to
For
something
what
later,
the-
right? That's
yeah.
clearly what it's. They're setting up some sexual tension between two characters, or some sexual tension in general.
Some
they're setting
gene
up,
splice
they're setting up,
apes.
They're setting up a pregnant ape. It's just violence. I don't know. It's just it's,
Apes in cages, maybe humans in cages in the
there's
future.
a lot of I feel like there's a lot of intention in this scene, even if they're not telling us what's happening later on.
What I find about it is that it is breaking the cardinal rule of this type of filmmaking. It is telling me, not showing me. I don't
Yeah.
see the apes acting that way. I don't see them examining a pregnant ape. I hear them telling me about it.
True.
It's basically somebody said we need to set up. It feels like they wrote a script and they went, oh shit, wouldn't it be good if we had a scene at the very first that kind of at least sort of said this is coming? It's not awful. That's been done before, and you can do it fine, but usually you want to show me their aggression, so I'm afraid of it, so I'm weary of it. I know it's coming, but... So we get all that, and you know, the last thing within the minute that hits me oddly is the idea of a postcard. We found out that he has a postcard.
Leo's got a postcard.
Is that mentioned in this minute?
Yeah, that's how we end.
You got a postcard.
Well, I mean, to the fact that this is 2001 and they're using terminology like postcard, we're just going to assume that this particular reality, when it said like a few years,
2029.
like a few years from now, we're just going to assume in the same way that we refer to our phone.
I got a message.
Yeah, and I mean,
kids ask,
I
why
got
is
a
it called?
text.
Why is it called a phone?
and whenever you initially got email, you know, the AOL thing was you've got mail, so you use that vernacular that establishes itself. But postcard is a reference that's very particular to that idea of traveling somewhere and sending something back home instead of someone sending it to you. That it's not awful. I know what they mean. You've got something. You need to go look at it. We want you. Postcard's just a weird reference for me.
It is. Well, and I think looking at it from 2021,
2020, yeah, when we
2022,
say you got a video or
it sounds
something.
odd. Yeah, we'd expect it.
And that may be it. Maybe that's what I'm doing is putting the goggles on from today and seeing that. But it was just postcard.
I mean, you got a Twitter. You've got
Just a message.
TikTok.
How about a message?
Yeah.
You got a video.
So
I'm sorry. I think a postcards is the thing that whenever Abby was little, it was like, can I send postcards
You
to
can send
Honey
it
and
for-
Papa? And I'm like, Christ almighty, we got to buy a copy.
Well,
you
I
know,
mean,
and
this
send
is-
it back.
Gotta get a stamp.
Yes.
this is 2001, written by a 51-year-old man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
However old he was at the time, right? So his concept of these things are a little different than ours are today.
And these are the nitpicky things that I know that we're being, I don't want to say unfair, but I know that we're being very particular about. But again, postcard is just a weird reference. Anyway, has anyone got anything else to that?
I'm surprised that they didn't, just for setting up future things, potentially have at least one chimpanzee, one gorilla in here, even a baby gorilla, and maybe that's the aggressive one that they have to, like,
True.
no, sedate that one. He shouldn't be doing this kind of stuff and put it away. Because we did see baby orangutans, we see chimpanzees, but we got no gorillas.
They mentioned in the script as we go past them, we're supposed to see mostly chimpanzees, a few orangutans, gibbons, and even a young lowland gorilla.
Because I had some...
But I didn't notice. I was kind of
didn't
looking
either.
at the cages. I just noticed chimpanzees.
I had some notes about future minutes about types of apes, but yeah, the fact that you just mentioned gibbons in there, and yeah, we don't have chimps and orangutans at this point.
Yeah. All right. I
it
think
for
that's
me.
minute 6. Richard?
That's all I got.
Going. All right. That's minute 6. We will be back tomorrow. Until then, everyone have a great day.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Come